One of the main reasons that human beings are so deeply disturbed as a species is because they go against and deny their own nature. Humans have had a big problem with being human and with human nature for thousands of years. So many of the elements of human society, of governments and religions exist to control, suppress, deny, and fight against what it is to be human. And the very sad reality is that a big part of a being's nature is their needs. As a part of this war that humanity has waged against their own nature, they have decided to go against their own needs, and the need that they have perhaps gone against the very most aggressively is their need for each other. Adult humans desperately seek for their dependency needs to be met, while at the very same time denying that they exist. For this reason, today, we need to talk about dependency needs. Human beings are a superbly relationally dependent species. If you look to infancy, you will discover that human infants are entirely dependent on their adult caregivers. It is dependent for all of its needs on these adult caregivers for a very, very long time compared to other species, which we are perfectly able to recognize as relationally dependent. For example, a bison is able to stand and walk within 10 to 30 minutes after it's born. They nurse for 6 months before transitioning to grass. By 3 years, they're fully grown. Compare this with a human child. We can recognize that in order to thrive, a herd animal such as a bison or a group animal like a guinea pig must be with others of its kind. And we recognize that this need does not go away once they reach a certain age. This means we are capable of recognizing dependency needs in other species, but we have a real issue when it comes to ourselves. And this is a real tragedy, because human beings are one of the most naturally social and naturally relationally dependent species in existence. I'm going to start this conversation by exposing a truth, and then we're going to unpack it. The truth is this: as a person, you have dependency needs, and this is true for the totality of your life. This means you have dependency needs as an adult. These are needs that you either cannot give yourself, or needs that even if you can give them in some way to yourself too, that does not remove the need to get them from others. In order to thrive and be healthy on a physical, emotional, mental, and even spiritual level, you need these dependency needs to be met. I'm going to give you a basic list of what some of these dependency needs are. Okay, straight out the gate, you've got connection, belonging, trust, prioritization, empathy, presence, affection, words of affirmation, communication, sex, emotional support, physical support, expression, which is basically sharing one's thoughts, feelings, and etc. with others, co-regulation, contact, comfort, attention, a sense of community, love. How about warmth, social warmth, intimacy, quality time, gifts, companionship, commitment, to feel wanted and needed, relational security. This is that we feel safe in our relationships. Protection, to feel valued and to be appreciated. And I can guarantee you that if I sat here long enough, I could come up with way more of those too. These dependency needs are non-negotiable needs for human well-being. Without them, we starve on the levels, plural, that the need is meant to satiate. And when we starve, we cope with that pain in very unhealthy ways. We fall into addictions. We become mentally ill, emotionally ill, and yes, even physically ill. And many people die or resort to suicide. These needs are not a sign of weakness, and they are not a sign of immaturity. They are especially not a sign of spiritual immaturity. So why have you been led to believe that you can be independent? And worse than that, why have you been led to believe that the most mature and even spiritually awakened person is a person who does not need others because they can meet the needs they have from others in, of, and for themselves? Well, the answer is pretty simple. The reality of dependency scares the living crap out of people. Dependency has become a dirty word, and especially in Western cultures where self-soothing and self-sufficiency have become the goal. Independence is pushed on children as early as possible in the Western world. Why does dependency scare us so badly? Because it makes us feel powerless to things external to us. In this case, other people. If we did not receive our dependency needs adequately from our significant relationships in our early life, and even worse, if we were harmed by those who we depended on to meet our dependency needs, what happens is we become desperate to not be dependent on others. We create and adopt and latch onto social and spiritual ideologies that promote the idea that we do not need things from other people, that everything we need we can get from within. We find ways to be the least dependent on others as we possibly can be. It makes a great many people with trauma around their dependency needs, especially those whose dependency made them feel harmed by others, feel empowered to think that they can meet all of their needs themselves. And at the very same time, it re-traumatizes a great many people with trauma around their dependency needs, especially those whose trauma was being forced into independence. It traumatizes them to be told that they don't need others and instead need to meet that need for themselves because that was the trauma to begin with, right? The problem is, when we do this, we slip into a delusion that we are convinced is the ultimate reality, the most spiritually awakened reality. In the modern world, independence has become an illness that the vast majority of people are deeply infected with. People have become so ill with the illusion of independence that they don't even see their dependence. They feel independent if they can get in their own car and drive to the store and get food with their own money. They don't even realize that in order to do all of that, they are dependent on all of the people who manufactured that car, on every person involved in the process of making sure that there is fuel available for that car. They are dependent on the store and the entire process that that store goes through to put food on those shelves. They are dependent on the financial system, which implies a dependence on the government. They are dependent on the food that they have bought to sustain them. It's just an illusion of independence that they have. People simply seem to have a much easier time depending on a carrot to sustain their physical bodies than they have depending on a friend or a partner to feel secure in the world. Emotional dependency is the thing that people seem to struggle with the very most. Why? Because it's the thing that seems the very hardest to control. We feel we can control being able to get fuel for our car. We don't feel that we can control whether we can get someone to love us. And when people feel that they can't control things and are therefore at the mercy of someone else, they do anything they can to wriggle out of that position. They try to find any possible way back to a sense of personal empowerment again, even if they have to do so at the expense of themselves. I've also noticed that people like to tell themselves that to depend on others is to be codependent. This is not the truth. In fact, between you and me, I'm very upset that we decided to use that name for the relational strategy that people are describing when they use this term. Codependency is not about dependency. It's about choosing not to maintain a sense of self within the context of relationships, and there's a lot of disempowerment in that condition. If you want to learn more about this, I suggest you watch 3 of my videos. The first, titled Codependency Has Nothing to Do with Dependency, the second, titled Dependence versus Independence, and the third, titled How Has It Come to This? The Societal Collapse into Independence. Spiritually speaking, to deny your dependency needs using any spiritual ideology is not a transcendental state of being. It is a state of disconnection, separation, and ego masquerading as awakenedness. It is also a profound disownership of your temporal human aspect. It is illness masquerading as health. The surest way to corrupt and destroy yourself is to deny your dependency needs. The surest way to destroy another being is to deny them of their dependency needs. The surest way to destroy the fabric of human society is to deny that people have dependency needs. Why? Because it means we're never going to meet each other's needs. The reality is that nothing is an island unto itself. No person is an island. The reality is that this universe, this world, and this human society is deeply, deeply interdependent. And this interdependence is a system of connectivity and health. Interdependence, which involves the conscious meeting of each other's dependency needs, is what will create a safe human society in which people can thrive and navigate their life here on Earth. Have a good week.